this lesson, I want to talk about how to hit the heavy topspin forehand, as well as to show you drills on how to do that. So stay tuned. Hi, my name is Joel, and I'm a tennis teacher from Singapore. Welcome to Unleash Your Tennis channel, where you'll be learning great tennis tips and ideas to help you improve your tennis game. So do consider subscribing to this channel to learn more. We often admire top players like Rafael Nadal for being able to rip the heavy topspin forehand and pin the opponent right at the backcourt. So what exactly is the heavy topspin forehand? Well, basically, for heavy topspin forehand, it means that there's a ton of rotation on the ball, and once it lands on the court, it will kick up fast and furious towards the fence. There are many advantages of being able to hit the heavy topspin forehand, and I'm going to give you the two main advantages. The first big advantage is you're able to control your opponent's location. By ripping a heavy topspin forehand, it will pin them at the baseline or further back behind the baseline, and they can't attack you. So your first advantage is to be able to pin them at behind the baseline, and you are not giving any chances for them to attack. The second advantage of being able to rip the heavy topspin forehand is that your shots will kick up high, and usually your opponent has to hit the ball above the shoulder. Unless he or she is very good at hitting off the rise. If not, most of the time, the heavy topspin forehand will get them to hit above the shoulder, which is not their best strike zone. Okay, so the second advantage of being able to rip that heavy topspin forehand is that you're keeping the ball away from their best strike zone. So how do we achieve that heavy topspin forehand? Well, the first thing that we have to work on is the low to high swing. Okay, now if your forehand has a very linear swing path, alright, you tend to hit the ball this way, very linear swing path, chances are your shots are flatter, okay, which is not wrong. But if you want to work on a heavy topspin, then you may want to let the racket drop below the ball. Let's say the ball is bouncing up here. You may want to let the racket drop below so that you can climb up this way to generate the topspin on the ball. The next tip is about the kinetic chain of the tennis forehand. Now, what we need to do is to work on the technique soundly. Alright, make sure you have good forehand technique. So regarding the forehand kinetic chain, alright, what we want to is to use the energy from ground up. So make sure you load the legs. Okay, when you prepare to hit the ball, you have to load the legs, and then you rotate the hip. So this whole chain will come up from ground up. So legs, followed by the hip, followed by the torso, shoulder, the arm, and then the wrist. This whole chain takes a very fast pace. Okay, and the next thing is you have to stay relaxed and loose. You can't be tight. Okay, so when you are ripping the forehand, you have to load, okay, produce this kinetic chain. Okay, from here, use the energy from ground up. Okay, I rotate the hip, followed by the torso, shoulder, arm, and then the wrist. This whole chain must work together. And I'm in a very relaxed and loose state. Okay, I can't be tight if I want to rip a heavy topspin forehand. Next, we have to make use of height. The thing about the heavy topspin forehand is we want the ball to have tremendous amount of spin, as well as we want to hit it higher so that it can land deeper and go towards the back fence. Okay, so when you are practicing with a partner, do imagine the net of the height is now doubled, so that when you are practicing, you make a deliberate practice to hit the ball higher, and coupled with the heavy topspin, it can land deeper and the second bounce will go towards the fence. So if your kinetic chain plus the low to high swing works well, then the heavy topspin will naturally come about. So in the next segment, I'm going to show you 2 drills to help you to improve the heavy topspin. The first drill is very simple. What you need to do is to stand closer to the net. You're going to drop the ball and focus on letting the racket drop and spin the ball up. We want the ball to land inside the service box. Okay, so let me show you. So I'm going to drop the ball. My focus is to let the racket drop low so that I can do this low to high swing. Okay? And my focus is to land inside the service box. Now the second drill is to have a target of letting the first bounce land on the court and the second bounce hits the back fence. Okay, so what you're going to do is to practice hitting your forehand, let the first bounce land on the court and second bounce go towards the fence. Okay, let's try it out. Okay, good one. So notice that I want to hit the ball higher over the net. Right, this one is not as good. Go higher. Okay, there you go. This is not as deep as I wanted it to be. So, from what I've practiced, the few shots just now, those that went higher tend to land on the court on the first bounce, second bounce will go towards the fence. So when we are practicing, we want to make it deliberately that we want to aim higher, let it land deep, so that our opponent will stay behind the baseline to return our shots. Wrapping up, to rip that heavy topspin forehand, we need 3 things. 1, we want the racket to drop below the ball so that it can create the topspin on the tennis ball. 2, work on the kinetic chain. Make sure that we are loose and relaxed when we read that forehand. And lastly, to make use of the height so that the ball is able to spin higher and land deeper. The heavy topspin forehand is definitely a great tool to have. Owning this ability will help you to pin the opponent at the back court, and the chances of you winning a point will be much higher. I hope you have gotten some great tips from today's lesson. If you like this video, do smash the like button and subscribe to Unleash Your Tennis channel. That's all from me today. Until next time, happy playing!